as a stone, lost in thoughts, all alone. Again, when I got this translation was my first time actually fully understanding the lyrics that I had just recorded. The lyrics that I kept seeing everyone laughing and questioning partially if they were also maybe laughing at me. They weren't. They were laughing because they're just like, this is so ridiculous. Is this really okay that we're doing this to her? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm excited. But so I will admit, was I disappointed? Absolutely not. I was floored in a good way, but I was shocked. I could tell that they were a little bit out there, but I guess I couldn't tell how. But I feel like the Oyome Holic has a bit of a thing with it where in English, it comes off as way worse than it does in Japanese. It's kind of, there's another song I really, really like that is called Gacha Gacha Cute. If you look up the English translation to that, the lyrics of the song are so dirty. But if you ask Japanese speakers, they'll be like, no, it's not actually like, it's really not that bad though. But the English translations of it are extremely, I would say, it's not even an it's just a dirty song, but apparently it's not. Apparently in Japanese, it's not portrayed that way. But the way that you translate it, it ends up having a lot of connotation that isn't actually apparently in the Japanese. One thing I found out recently is sarcasm doesn't exist in Japan. You cannot be sarcastic in Japanese. There is no such thing as sarcasm, apparently. So I feel like there's probably also some things like that don't really exist, mayhaps. Like, don't get me wrong, like, Japan obviously has different ways that they talk that are very, like, for example, if you're being too noisy in Japan, you might be told, you've got a really, like, loud voice, or like, wow, your voice is so, like, powerful. And it sounds like it's almost framed in a way that it's a compliment, but it's definitely not, and it's them very politely telling you, you need to shut up. Or like, you look really healthy lately, which is like, you're getting kind of chubby, you know, like stuff like that. It's not meant to be a compliment, but it's meant to just be like a kukiomi, a read the air kind of moment. It's not sarcasm. It is not at all sarcasm. Because sarcasm, in the States, we'd be like, oh yeah. But like, I wouldn't go up to someone and say, wow, you look really healthy. Because that's not sarcasm. That's not how sarcasm works. Like, sarcasm in that case would be like if someone's like, yeah, I've been eating really healthy lately. If I interjected and went, right. That would be sarcasm. But like, or maybe I'm just not a very good translator. That could also be the case. But I think that's still sarcasm. I don't think it's sarcasm. Look, I'm telling you, I also know people who live in Japan and people who are also fluent Japanese speakers, and they have told me that the sarcasm does not exist in Japan either. So it's not like I'm just coming up with this out of nowhere. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm living in Japan right now, so maybe I have a little bit more of an idea. Talking to people who also live in Japan and interacting with Japanese people constantly on a day-to-day basis, I might be a little bit of an expert on the subject, just a little bit. Because again, they definitely have something, but it is not sarcasm, and I don't think it could be classified as sarcasm, and some people might, for convenience, might refer to it as sarcasm. Because sarcasm, again, I feel like is more of like a very snide comment that you might be like, you kind of grumble it, you know? Like, a backhanded compliment is not sarcasm. Because they're right. If they're saying, I would say it's not even an it's just a dirty song, but apparently it's not. Apparently in Japanese, it's not portrayed that way. But the way that you translate it, it ends up having a lot of connotation that isn't actually apparently in the Japanese. But that's just